Be real. Keep it 100. Caitlin Clark has been on the receiving end of this sort of stuff way too much.
Caitlin Clark fans have been saying this for a few years now. How bad can it really get? How ugly do the fouls have to be before they finally start getting called? On the other end of the floor, Caitlin seems to get called for just standing there, gets tech for clapping, or somehow ends up with a foul against her when another player elbows her. How bad can it get? Well, we just got our answer.
I called it that she would be targeted.
What Alyssa Thomas just did to Caitlin Clark was so blatantly bad that it's no longer just fans screaming from their keyboards, but analysts, the media, even her coach got furious. And while the league has taken action, which I'll get into, the damage has already been done. As I'll explain, in a world of sound bites and snapshots, this is something the WNBA cannot recover from unless they take drastic action. Let's get into it. But first, like the video and drop a heart in the comments to show support for Caitlin. Okay, let's rewind to June 22nd. Going into this game against the Mercury, Caitlin Clark was on an absolute tear. Several straight games with 20 points and 5 assists, third in the league in points per game, second in assists. Caitlin was back, healthy, and making her case as an early MVP favorite. And that was despite the same referee malpractice she'd been dealing with since her first year as a pro. Blatant non-calls when she gets fouled, while she gets called for basically putting her hands up in the air. And in this game, the officiating was somehow even worse.
Fighting for position, but, I mean, Caitlin Clark issued a technical foul. You hear the crowd react, and Clark is perplexed and shocked as to why she was assisted technical.
Caitlin got into a bit of a tussle with DeWanna Bonner, which of course led to the famous Sophie point. But then there's this. You may have heard in that clip that Caitlin got a tech out of that exchange. Well, it turns out that was for clapping.
Got the tech tonight, 5th of the
Yeah,
season.
it's ridiculous. I got a technical for clapping. So, like, if we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping. I asked Gerda. Gerda said that I got a technical for clapping. So, if any technical should be taken away, it should be that one. If it's truly for clapping, that's what they said they gave it to me for was for clapping. So it's just ridiculous. I don't understand it at all.
And that tech was not rescinded by the league, even though they did it for Paige Becker. Anyway, it only got worse from there.
Yo, AT tried to take Caitlin Clark out. Look at that elbow. Oh my.
The elbow extend from behind, and that's not gonna.
She tried to take her out with the elbow.
It's good old Alyssa Thomas throwing her elbow at Caitlin, which was bad enough, an obvious foul. But then came what many are calling the worst call in sports history.
The illegal contact is initiated by Caitlin Clark. She comes across the arm, into the body and hip of Thomas.
Caitlin, somehow after review, got called for initiating contact. So, she gets a tech for clapping and a foul when she's elbowed. Now this is bad, but again, we've got to go back to the original question. How bad can it possibly get? Well, God, 2 days later. Once again, Caitlin was having a great game, on pace for a 20-point, 10-assist performance, and then this happens. See that? That's a fist. Pressed down onto Caitlin's neck, once again, courtesy of Alyssa Thomas. But there was more to it. From that other angle, you can clearly see the knee pressed into the groin. And of course, no music call. And then, Caitlin quietly left the game with back issues and didn't return. And many suspected it was because of this. Yep. Yet another illegal closeout. So now we've got a punch to the neck, a knee to the groin, more reckless closeouts, and a music injury. And this time, everyone lost it.
Whether it's from Kennedy Carter at the very beginning, or Marina Mabry last year, or Alyssa Thomas today, way too often she's been on the receiving end of this stuff, and she's getting called for fouls for having her arms straight up in the air and getting technicals for clapping. And then there was the closeouts. Reckless closeouts, whatever you want to call them. And I posted earlier today, she's gonna get hurt. If this keeps up, she got hurt, back issue.
How many times is Caitlin Clark going to get cheap shotted by the same 3 or 4 players over and over and over and over again before the refs do anything about it?
But these are analysts and fans. What about the coach? So during the game, we saw nothing from Stephanie White. At this point, we don't expect her to go full Cheryl Reeve, but come on, give us something. I mean, up until this point, the coach has thrown more daggers at Caitlin than at the refs. But what she said post-game, well, it was finally what needed to be said.
You gotta call it. It's absolutely egregious and utterly disrespectful.
Yes, unacceptable, egregious, all good words, but what she said next was the real breath of fresh air. And maybe, just maybe, a sign that things have reached a breaking point because she not only laid into the refs, she put Caitlyn on the pedestal.
Have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had 2 cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say again, absolutely unacceptable.
It would have been better if she had said that she's the face of the league. She's the reason we're flying charter instead of commercial, and why players are making 4 times the money. That would have been the best thing to say, but even if you don't buy her authenticity, she's at least saying the right things this time. She's echoing the fans' frustration, which she needs to do because the fans are done. Sure, after a wave of outcry, Alyssa Thomas got suspended for 1 game, but that's not going to cut it with Caitlyn Clark fans. It comes off as a slap on the wrist only because the league had to do something since it was so obvious. It really does nothing. The league has let all of this go way too far for way too long. The damage is done. Again, in a world of sound bites and snapshots, Caitlyn Clark fans and casual sports fans now have the image. Alyssa Thomas's fist on Caitlyn Clark's neck. That's the image that, for Caitlyn Clark fans, represents the relationship between the league and its savior. It's like a statue, it's an icon. Summarize Caitlyn Clark's WNBA career in one image. That's the new go-to. Until the WNBA takes real music action to dramatically overhaul officiating and start protecting their golden goose, this image is going to be there at every turn. Every missed call, every time some talking head says Caitlyn Clark shouldn't complain to the refs, every time a player gets overly physical with Caitlyn, this picture will be there as a reminder of what the small stuff, when allowed, leads to. Since you're still here, drop a trophy in the comments, because you are a winner for sticking around. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.